Morning. I just wanted to do a little video, probably more for myself, my own sanity more than for anyone else, but a little bit of history in my opinion of the last, I guess, every war since World War II that I understand, and just how much the American civilian government official sucks at war. This is not knocking the American fighting man. I reckon probably one of the greatest on earth, if not the greatest on earth. The Marines island hopping in the Pacific, number one, best ever. The army that went to Patton's army in Europe, best of the best. Battle of the Bulge, man, one of the hardest fighting men to ever walk the earth. But you know, so since the Second World War, Americans beat the Japanese, dropped the nuclear bomb. I mean, they would have beat them eventually anyway. They would have had to invade Japan, probably take, I think there was estimates of taking, you know, up to 1 million casualties, you know, tens to not even 20s of millions of Japanese civilians to die if they invaded. So the nuclear bomb, the argument's always been that it was a more humane way to end the war. Beat the Japanese, beat Hitler. I mean, we let the Russians take Berlin. I think there was a bit of tactics there so that they could separate the Germans eventually. So they could have West Germany, East Germany. That was a bit of Churchill politics there. But you know, so that's a win-win. Beat the Japs, beat the Germans. You know, I guess the argument is that Patton made that they should have just kept pushing on to fight Stalin while they were in Europe there and then, try and beat the Russians back to Moscow. They didn't do that, and unfortunately, Cold War started a couple of years later, which led to millions of people dying. Again, you know, who's to say if that was the right decision or wrong decision, but the Cold War was just filled with tensions for 40 to 50 years, endless proxies, and again, millions of people dying. And plus, of course, you got Stalin, who was, in my opinion, the worst dictator in history, second to Mao, third to Hitler. I mean, Stalin's purge, Stalin's Holodomor, you know, there's no real number, but they say between 30 to 40 million people died under Stalin. Holodomor 6 to 8 million. The purge itself, where he just shot all these generals and anyone that was 750,000 just government officials. So I mean, Stalin was a fucking awful human being who I hate. And you know, do I think that the Americans should have pushed east, and tried to defeat him? Yes, I definitely do. So I guess, you know, at the end of the Second World War, you can say Second World War was a win, but America hasn't had many wins since the Second World War. Bay Pigs, you've got, Kennedy's CIA top officials, top brass, convinces him that the Cubans are going to rise up, and yeah, just the worst campaign ever. So Cuba wins that one. Cuba for the win, America for the loss. After that, you got the Vietnam War, which, you know, I think it was definitely over 50,000 American casualties. 2 to 3 million dead Vietnamese, all for Ho Chi Minh to push down in 74 after the Americans left and take South Vietnam. So I mean, if they just let them done that after the French had left, all would have been the same. Again, you know, you've got 2.5 million people dead for essentially no freaking reason. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of South Vietnamese that could argue that they didn't want communism in their country, which is fair enough, but I kind of do believe that Ho Chi Minh wasn't really that much of a communist. He just wanted colonial powers out of his country, and you know, the Russians gave him an out and the Chinese gave him an out, weapons, etc. So anyway, Vietnam's a loss. Bang, there you go, no good. Then you've got Grenada, quick regime change, can't really call that. It's, you know, it's a win for America, essentially on paper. But, you know, it's, if they didn't win that, I mean, you know, you're worried. But it is a win technically, same as Panama, regime change. It's another win. Somalia, you know, technically, who knows? I couldn't call that a win or a loss. You got Black Hawk Down, you've got Delta forces killed, and then you've got up to 1 million migrants after that war flood into America, flood into Minnesota, and now you have the Minnesota scandal. They've been sending fucking money back for however long to Al-Shabaab to, you know, support more terrorism and killing in Somalia. So that's 30 years now, and Al-Shabaab still has a lot of power in Somalia. So that's America for another loss. Kosovo, Clinton's freaking bombing campaigns. Don't know much about it, though. You know, I do know that they bombed a lot of innocent people, civilians die in war. I get it. It is something that we all have to accept. When there is a war, more civilians die than troops. This is just a fact. And I mean, I freaking hate it. I fucking hate it. It's disgusting, but it is the fact of war. Kosovo, there, I do know there was a bombing of a hospital in Kosovo which killed a lot of innocent people. Anyway, so America, I guess you get a little win there, maybe. Afghanistan, 20-year war. Took us 10 years to find Osama bin Laden, who was in Pakistan, who freaking fled from Tora Bora, I think pretty much week 4 or week 5. So then we stayed in Afghanistan to fight the Taliban for the next 20 years. We leave just in the most spastic manner you could ever imagine, and Taliban take over the country, and now they're in power, and now they're fighting the Pakistanis. So anyway, it's just a bloodbath impact in Afghanistan. The poor Afghani people just, you know, have been through more than any other country probably in the last 50 years. Like, it is, you know, you just really got to feel for these people. It has just been a bloodbath. Russians, you know, then the Civil War, then the Americans, and now they got Pakistan. So these people, all they know is war. So it's horrible. Anyway, still America for the loss. Afghanistan. And you got the first Gulf War. It's George Bush Sr. He pushes, in my belief, that Saddam was kind of tricked into going into Kuwait. Kuwait were pretty much asking for his money back after the Iran-Iraq war. Jesus, sorry, mate. The Iran-Iraq war, and you, what was I saying? Shit, I've lost my train of thought here. Oh, yeah, so George Bush Sr., he pushes, he pretty much allowed Iraq to invade Kuwait at last minute, you know. Said no, came in, pushed the Iraqis out, pushed them back to Baghdad, and then 12 years later we had to go back and finish him off. Why they didn't continue, who knows. He also backstabbed the Kurds in that fucking war, said if the Kurds uprise and take Saddam out, we'll back him. The Kurds rised up, and Saddam killed them all. So, I mean, another American fucking beautiful piece of diplomacy there. And then you go to Iraq, 8-year war, trillions of dollars. You know, I don't know how many American lives lost. I think it's around 6,000. I'm pretty sure. It's around 6,000. Over half a million to 1 million Iraqis lost. Insurgencies, Fallujah, Ramadi. They're some of the two most horrible modern warfare battlegrounds in modern history. Just an absolute bloodbath. You know, I mean, again, you go to the American fighting man, just absolutely dominated in those two battles, and then within 10 years, ISIS had control over Ramadi anyway. which was, you know, you think about how many suicides that's caused from the American fighting man that gave his life, that his mates gave their lives, to see within 10 years you've got a fucking black flag of ISIS flying over the city and the people that you liberated. You know, again, American diplomacy, it's not the American fighting man, it is the government, it is the civilian sector of the American government, which is just a fucking bunch of dumb cunts. So yeah, we kill Saddam, and kill Saddam, Shia uprising, Sada City, you know, which is, it is just literally, you know, most people don't know Shia-Sunni relations. Shia was just controlled by the Iranians. So we spent, the Iranians and the Iraqis spent 10 years fighting a war so that, which the Americans backed Saddam, so then it wouldn't be a Shia fucking Iraq, and then we kill Saddam and that's a Shia Iraq. And then, you know, you've just got the Kurds up north, you've got ISIS in the middle, you've got Baghdad, Shia rule, an absolute bloodbath to this day, you know. So yeah, that's Iraq. So that's a lose. That's a loss of mine. That's a loss for me. Definitely a loss. So, you know, so far we've got Grenada and we've got Panama for the win. Other than that, you know, any big conventional war, America for the loss. And now we get to ISIS, the bombing of ISIS. We back the rebels. They call them the rebels. These rebels, freaking beheading, fucking extremists, pieces of shit, that we back to fight ISIS and to fight Assad. You know, they're now in power in Syria. First thing they do is go down and kill the Assawat Christians, just a mass genocide. Everyone shuts the fuck up about that. I don't know. The next thing this whole mate's playing basketball with Trump at the White House. What a fucking disaster. What a fucking disaster. Honestly, like, you've literally got videos of the president of Syria beheading people in 2015, 2016. It's like 10 years ago, this guy was slicing people's head. Now he's a world fucking leader. Are you kidding me? And, you know, like, American policy. That's Hillary Clinton. That was a fucking Hillary Clinton one, that one. You know, so we wipe out Syria with drones. A lot of help with the Russians, a lot of help from the Kurds, and then we leave the Kurds, they'll get slaughtered by the Turks. So, you know, again, we love, you know, just leaving our allies to burn and rot. And so, again, I'm going to call that ISIS for the lose, because ISIS is still around. Bondi attacks, ISIS, they're still prevalent. Unless you kill every one of them, that is still an army that is fighting you. America for the loss. Finally, we get to Iran. Iran has been preparing for this war for 20 fucking years. Minimum 20 years. Minimum. Maybe more, 30 years. It is a fortress of mountains with tunnels and ballistic missiles. You are going to need the Marines in the army to invade a force of 2 to 3 million men. 2 to 3 million fighting men to fucking wipe out that regime. 100%. You're going to need to accept that you're going to carry 300,000 to 400,000 casualties fighting in those mountains. You're going to need to accept you're going to kill probably 2 to 3 million civilians, at least. And then you've got to accept the fact is once you've taken over the country, once you've had a regime change, then what? You've got 12 different ethnic groups in Iran with 90 million people. You know, like, sure, this fucking, the Ayatollah, bad dude, horrible person. You know, killed fucking who knows how many people. Ruled with an iron fist of Sharia law. But he kept that country from infighting. You go, you take it all out, there will be a civil war for power. Because this is how these countries in the Middle East operate. They operate with an iron fucking fist. There's too much power, too much money to be controlled in these countries. So, I mean, America's got one choice. That is to get the fuck out of Iran tomorrow or today. Apologise. Literally apologise to the world and say you're sorry and that you made a mistake. All you wanted to do was kill the Ayatollah. You thought there would be a regime change. There hasn't been a regime change. Leave it at that, or this war's going to be going on for 20 fucking years. And my little boy, 4 years old, I will not let him fight a war in the Middle East for a bunch of civilian diplomats in America and in Israel that want regime change. And again, I mean, you want to go deep in this, the Greater Israel Project. I will not let my son. I would rather go and hide in the bush and build caves myself than ship my son off to fight for these fucking forever wars in the Middle East. Anyway, it's a bit of history. I hope you enjoyed it, but you know, I'm fired up, I'm angry. I like to say these things on camera. I like to say these things out loud. Help me deal with what I'm going through. You know, I have always been a history buff. I love it. But you know, it does come with consequences, because the knowledge that you have makes you angrier and angrier, because it seems like civilians in fucking politics don't know half the shit that I do, and I'm just some dumb cunt builder. So, you know, like, well, boys, get your shit together, learn your history, try and fucking govern us and rule us, because that's what you are. You're rulers. Try and govern us and rule us, you know, a little bit better, so we don't fucking end up paying astronomical prices for the cost of war and killing millions of innocent people for no fucking reason. You know, I do believe that every life is worth a life. You know, death is horrible, and should be no war fought. Though, if a country is invading my country, if other foreign men are trying to rape my women and kill me, then yes, we have the right to defend ourselves. Other than that, let's just worry about Australia for now, eh? Because we've got enough problems going on. Good.